So hello everyone, I am Aakanksha Bhende, an associate software engineer at Red Hat, and today I will be talking how embedding accessibility from the very start of development and design process can help us to build scalable and smarter products. So accessibility is often overlooked when we are more focused on project deadlines or delivering features, but we should understand that accessibility isn't an enhancement, it is a fundamental thing to consider. So with that, let's get started. Before we dive in, let's have a quick look over today's agenda. We will be covering why accessibility matters, common barriers, accessibility first mindset and practices, tools, real world success stories, followed by conclusion. Now, let's start with the big picture. According to World Health Organization, an estimated of 1.3 billion people around the world are differently abled. That means 1 in 6 of us is differently abled, which makes it very much necessary for us as developers and designers to create accessible products. Now, what is accessibility? Accessibility means creating products, digital platforms, tools that can be accessed by everyone, including people with motor, cognitive, hearing impairments. So accessibility means to remove barriers that prevent the people from using the platforms and products, including if the disability is permanent, situational or temporary. For example, broken arm, strong glare on the phone screen, or just weak internet issues. Now we'll understand why it matters. So there are different perspectives. First one is the ethical. Equal access is a basic human right. Second perspective is the legal compliance. Most of the government enforces accessibility standards like ADA, WCAG, and companies failing to comply with them can be held accountable, and which leads to lawsuits and brand damage. The third perspective is the business point of view, where the more accessible your product is, the more number of people it will reach, and there will be a stronger user base. Now, we will look at some common barriers. These barriers are simple oversights like no alt text in the images or no captions in the videos, which makes it very hard for people who are using screen readers. Then poor color contrast between text and the background, which makes it very hard for people with low vision and night blindness. There are then some other common barriers like too many navigation links, not mobile friendly design, then like vague labels, instructions, etc. Now what happens is these barriers stack up, and for some users become completely deal breakers. Accessibility isn't just for few, it is a better design for everyone. Now we will look at this image. As we can see, this image shows the number of shoppers who are currently looking at this product page and how this product is currently on low stock. To be honest, this is a very bad design, because for users having ADHD or autism, stress disorders, this time pressure can be very overwhelming and can cause some sort of discomfort. Then, how we should be making a design that includes everyone? For that, we'll look at some accessibility first mindset and practices. Accessibility shouldn't be deferred for the last QA checklist or the sprint end. It should be embedded from the very starting of the development and designing process. It should be present in the components. It should be in our design systems, QA checklists, and also in the definition of done of the JIRAs or the task which we have been assigned. Embedding accessibility not only saves time, it saves companies money and also prevents rework, and most importantly helps us to create products that can be used by everyone and respects everyone. Now, we will look at WCAG. WCAG stands for Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, which gives a very clear understanding of how real accessibility looks like in the form of POR guidelines. POR stands for perceivable, operable, understandable, and robust. For each guideline, there are three success criteria. Level A, which covers the bare minimum barriers. Level AA, which is the mid standard, which covers most of the accessibility barriers. And level AAA, which is the highest amount of accessibility a product can have, but generally it is very difficult to achieve because it is complex to have this amount of consistency all over the product pages. Now, let's look at the first guidelines, which is perceivable. Users should be able to see, hear, and sense the content regardless of the disability. This can be achieved by having proper captions, image text like good color contrast, and supporting screen readers and other assistive technologies. For example, Gimlet Media lawsuit, like multiple podcasts were posted without closed caption, which made it inaccessible for people with having hearing impairment. Second guideline is operable. All functionality must be usable via keyboard, mouse, and assistive technologies like screen readers, then text maximizers, voice recognizers, etc. This can be ensured by giving proper support of keyboard, giving proper time to the user to understand the content. For example, MIT and Harvard lawsuit. Online video content lacked caption, which made it very hard for people having hearing impairment to access the content. Third guideline is understandable. The content should be clear, consistent, and predictable. This can be achieved by keeping in mind about those people who are using the product and must be accessing it in their second language. The language should be simple with no jargons. For example, the Target lawsuit. Blind users were unable to access the information on the Target website with screen readers because they were not able to understand the content. Robust. The content must be compatible with wide range of devices, assistive technologies, and browsers. This can be achieved by having a proper, by using proper HTML semantics and using ARIA labels and avoiding hacks to fix the accessibility. For example, Domino's was sued by a blind person because he was not able to access the Domino's website and app using screen reading software. Now, we will look at some tools. Thankfully, we have amazing range of tools which helps us to make accessibility very easy. In design, there are many plugins which can be integrated with Figma, which helps us to do accessibility audits. In development, we have many IDE plugins and Lighthouse, which helps us to give accessibility audits when our PRs are raised. For testing and automation, there are various scripts and screen readers which help us to test the software and helps in unit and integration testing. As we can see in this slide, like multiple industries from healthcare, social media, finance, the industries which have adopted accessibility from the very start has led to a very significant growth. This not only helped them to comply with the legal perspective, but also drive their business success. And that pretty much wraps up my presentation, and we come to the conclusion that accessibility is not a problem to be solved. It is a problem it is a culture to be built. So now the companies who have invested from the very start of the designing and development process have a higher amount of user satisfaction and user adoption. And we as developers and designers should bring in more empathy into our process to include everyone and respect everyone. Because at the end of the day, accessibility is not an enhancement, it is a fundamental thing to consider. And the best time to start is day one. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. I would like to take up questions if there are any. Yeah.
I'm just curious, on the first slide you showed this below sculpturing where they had like some text about another issue. I'm guessing personally the company designed it to be stressful to make people quiet. Right? Do you think it could have designed in like a way that is productive, or
That's a very good question. Thank you so much for asking. Yeah, you are right. It is a very common e-commerce technique that are used by them to increase their conversion rate and make the user buy. So like they are having the time pressure and it makes them buy. But we should be more empathic. Like designers are doing them to increase their retail sale, but it is creating some kind of discomfort for users. So it is a bad design. So there can be other ways from which you can increase the sale, and at that time you can also consider everyone. I hope that answers your question.